Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors just won the 2019 NBA Championship, the first NBA title for the city of Toronto, a historic moment for basketball and for the people of Canada. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Throughout the 2019 playoffs, Kawhi Leonard was absolutely sensational and had one of the greatest individual postseason runs, simply carried his team on his shoulder, and now he's a two-time NBA champion. So let's take a look back at some of the best individual postseason runs since 2000. Starting with number 10, Dwyane Wade 2006. Miami was considered heavy contenders. Despite struggling in the regular season, only winning 52 games, the 24-year-old superstar put up 28.4 points, almost 6 rebounds, 6 assists, over 2 block shots on 50% shooting in 23 games. Took care of business against a young tough Bulls team in the first round against Andreas Nocioni, Ben Gordon, Kurt Heinrich, and Luol Deng. After losing in Game 1 in the semis against New Jersey, Wade had 30+ in Games 2, 3, and 4, averaged over 27.5 points in the 5-game series. Would not be denied against the 64-win Pistons team in the conference finals. Dropped 35 in Game 3, responded with 31 in Game 4 on an efficient 8 of 11 shooting. Simply would not give the two-time defending Eastern Conference champions a chance. Closed out that series in 6, down 2-0 to Dallas in the finals. Wade was a man possessed after trailing by 13 in Game 3 with just over 5 minutes left. Simply took over down the stretch, scoring 42 points, snatching 13 rebounds in Game 3 in the comeback win. Had 36 in Game 4, tying the series at 2 apiece, and continued the onslaught in Game 5, constantly drawing fouls. Got to the line a staggering 25 times. Tied the game in regulation with a clutch banker. With a couple ticks left in OT, got to the rim, drew the foul, giving Miami a 1-point win. Finished with 43 in Game 5. Closed out Game 6 with 36, 10, and 5, along with 4 steals, 3 blocks. Wade was by far the best player in the series. Averaged nearly 35 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, almost 3 steals, and a block. Was flat out amazing, winning his first title, named Finals MVP, a run not many would have expected at the time. Number 9, Kobe Bryant 2009. Having averages of 30.2 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1.7 steals in 23 games. After losing in the 08 finals, Kobe and the Lakers simply would not be denied. Faced the 48-win Jazz team in the first round, who took them to 6 in the semis the year before. After taking the first 2 games convincingly, but losing in a nail-biter in Game 3, the Mamba responded with 38 big points in Game 4, going 16 of 24 from the field, before dropping 31 in the Game 5 closer. Knocked off Houston in a compelling second-round series, where Kobe dropped 40 in Game 2 after losing Game 1, had 33 in Game 3. Yao Ming went down with a foot injury after the Dirk game, where Kobe completely owned Ron Artest. LA held Houston to 70 points in Game 7, while Kobe had one of his best playoff series against Carmelo Anthony's Nuggets in the conference finals. Had 40 points in the Game 1 win. Denver was one of the hottest teams at the time, annihilated New Orleans and Dallas the first 2 rounds. In the tight contest, the best player in the game closed out Game 3, nailed the cold-blooded 3 with a minute left over J.R. Smith, responding with 41 big points. After winning Game 5, Bryant responded by scoring 35 in the closeout Game 6, along with 10 assists, was a plus 31, averaged 34, 6, and 6 for the series, and picked up where he left off, putting up 48 and 8 in Game 1 against Orlando in the finals, torching Michael Petrus the whole series. Scored between 29 to 40 points in each of the 5 games, got his teammates involved, made all the winning plays, winning his first championship without Shaq, silencing his critics. Would go on to repeat the following year. Number 8, LeBron James 2016 playoffs, which is nowhere close to his best overall postseason numbers. Averaged 26.3 points, 9.5 rebounds, over 7.5 assists, 2.3 blocks on 52.5% shooting. Matter of fact, James didn't even score more than 30 points in any of the games until the closeout against Toronto in Game 6 of the conference finals, where he had 33. Averaged under 25 a game, going 12-2 in the weak Eastern Conference. It wasn't until when James was down 3-1 against Golden State did he elevate his game. Dropped 41 in both Games 5 and 6, was absolutely unstoppable, made all the winning plays, combined with his amazing defense, had a 27-point triple-double performance in Game 7, capped off by the chase down block. If you talk about the best series performance by an individual star, this is up there, but the first 3 rounds were cakewalks where LeBron didn't even have to break a sweat, which is why this playoff run wasn't ranked higher on the list. Number 7, LeBron James 2018. I didn't rank this higher on the list since the Cavs didn't win the title. They would have lost to whoever came out the West regardless. but LeBron was absolutely sensational, who single-handedly carried the Cavs on his shoulder, averaged 34 points, over 9 rebounds, 9 assists on 54% shooting in the 22 games. Statistically, you can make the case his numbers alone makes this a top 5 best individual postseason performance. Carried the load against the tough Indiana team in the first round, had 46, 12, and 5 in Game 2 on 17 of 24 shooting, 44, 10, and 8 in Game 5 on 14 of 24 shooting, closed out the game with a cold-blooded game-winning 3 at the buzzer, and again responded in Game 7, scoring 45 big points, and then he would torch the Raptors, having his best game in Game 2 with 43 points, 8 rebounds, 14 assists on 19 of 28 shooting, was hitting fadeaway jumpers left and right, absolutely toyed with the Raptors, followed by a walk-off game-winning runner in Game 3 at the buzzer, pouring in 38, had 3 40-plus point games in the 7-game series against Boston, including 46 in Game 6, 35 in Game 7, and also had one of the best individual finals performances in Game 1, responding with a postseason career-high 51 points but lost in overtime. Scored 40-plus 8 different times in the 2018 postseason. Amongst all the amazing moments in James's career, the 2018 playoff run will always be legendary, despite getting swept by a more superior Golden State team. Number 6, Dirk Nowitzki 2011. In one of the most unexpected postseason runs in NBA history, nobody could have predicted the Mavs would be NBA champions before the season, except Jason Terry. While Dirk's numbers of 27.7 points, 8.1 rebounds on 48.5% shooting isn't as eye-popping as the others on this list, Dallas had one of the toughest tests. In the first round against the Blazers, Dirk averaged over 27 for the series. Dallas swept the 2-time defending champion Lakers in the semis, and the series against OKC was arguably Dirk's best, putting up over 32 points in the 5 games, had one of the best single-game performances, scoring 48 points on 15 shot attempts in Game 1, including a playoff record 24 of 24 from the line, came back down 15 with 5 minutes left in Game 4, scoring 40 points in the overtime win. Nowitzki went on to average 26 in the finals, coming back down 15 with 5 minutes left in Game 2, capped off by the clutch layup over Chris Bosh, continued to hit timely shots, winning the series in 6. Nowitzki outplayed superstars Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James in winning his first championship as the lone all-star on the team. Number 5, Kawhi Leonard 2019. Nobody would have predicted Toronto was going to be the 2019 NBA champions. Heading into the playoffs, the East was a toss-up between Toronto, Philly, Milwaukee, and Boston. In the 24 games, Leonard averaged 30.5 points, over 9 rebounds, almost 4 assists on 49% shooting, scored the 3rd most points in postseason history behind MJ and LeBron, put up nearly 28 points in the 5-game series over the Magic in the first round, and had one of the best individual performances against Philly in the semis, went off for 45 points on 16 of 23 shooting in Game 1, followed by 35 in Game 2, 33 in Game 3, down 2 games to 1, Kawhi dropped 39 in Game 4, nailing a clutch 3 over Joel Embiid to put his team up 4 with a minute left. In the 7th game, Leonard was a one-man show. A lot of his teammates seemed nervous. In an ugly defensive grinded battle, Kawhi scored 15 of his 41 points in the 4th quarter, took over down the stretch, netting in 13 of his team's final 15 points, was the only Raptor who scored in the 5-minute stretch late 4th quarter, saved his best for last, hitting the insane fadeaway game winner, getting the bounce, sealing the series. The first game-winning buzzer beater in a Game 7, one of the most iconic moments in NBA history, a moment that will forever be embraced and cherished in the city of Toronto. Dropped 30-plus 4 times in the 6-game series against the Bucks, absolutely owned Giannis, proving who was the best player in the East, averaged close to 30 points in the conference finals, put up 28.5 points, almost 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, becoming the 3rd player to win Finals MVP with 2 different franchises. If Golden State was at full strength and didn't have any big injuries, and if Kawhi was still able to take down the back-to-back champs with a healthy KD and Klay, Leonard's run would have been number 1 on this list. Number 4, Shaquille O'Neal 2000, 30.7 points, 15.4 rebounds, 2.5 blocks on nearly 57% shooting. Prime Shaq was simply a monster amongst boys, was on an absolute mission the season he won MVP, was all business from the start, finished with 46 points, 17 rebounds, 5 blocks in the first game of the playoffs against the Kings, averaged 30 and 16 in the semis in the 5-game series against Phoenix, but had a little trouble against Portland, only putting up 26 and 12 in the 7 games, capped off by the incredible one-handed alley-oop to punch his ticket to the finals and absolutely destroyed Indiana. His scoring low of those 6 games in the finals was 33 in Game 3. Had 43 and 19 in Game 1, followed by a 40.24 rebound performance in Game 2, capped off dropping 41 in Game 6, winning his first title, demolished Dale Davis and Rick Smith the whole finals. Indy simply had no answers for O'Neal. Number 3, Shaquille O'Neal 2001 playoffs. Having similar numbers to his first title run, Shaq put up 30.4 points, 15.4 rebounds, 2.4 blocks on almost 56% shooting. LA went 15-1 overall, where Kobe was every bit as spectacular in the first 3 rounds. LA swept Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio. The Diesel had 44 and 21 in Game 1 against the Kings, followed by a 43.20 rebound performance in Game 2, absolutely destroyed Flotty D-Bots, and owned the first place Spurs in the conference finals, outscoring them by a combined margin of 79 points in the sweep. And O'Neal simply saved his best for last in the finals. After a 44-point performance in Game 1, Shaq had a near quadruple-double in Game 2 with 28 points, 20 rebounds, 9 assists, and 8 blocks. 19 points was the lowest he scored the whole playoffs. O'Neal also recorded a double-double every game in the 2001 postseason. I rank 01 Shaq higher than 2000 Shaq, since the Lakers only lost 1 playoff game the whole run, and Shaq did struggle against Portland in Game 7 the year before, only making 5 shots. Number 2, Tim Duncan 2003, who put up 24.7 points, 15.4 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 3.3 block shots on 53% shooting in 24 games. In one of the most forgotten amazing playoff runs, many people forget Duncan was the lone all-star for the Spurs that season. The Lakers were aiming for a 4-peat. And San Antonio had a little bit of a scare in the first round with the 8-seeded Suns taking them to 6. The semis was basically the real NBA Finals, with 3 of the best players in the game in that series in Kobe, Shaq, and Timmy D. None of them disappointed. Kobe was the leading scorer, putting up 32 a game those 6 games, but Parker, Ginobili, and Bowen all stepped up for San Antonio, as Duncan ended LA's hopes with 37 points, 16 rebounds on 16 of 25 shooting, and the 28-point blowout in Game 6 was just as spectacular in the conference finals. Averaged 28 points, almost 17 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks against Dallas, capped off by a sensational 6-game series win over the Nets in the finals. In one of the most underrated performances, the big fundamental had 21 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 blocks in Game 6, the closest to a quadruple-double game in the playoffs, won his second championship at age 27. Number 1, LeBron James 2012 playoffs, put up 30.3 points, 9.7 rebounds, 5.6 assists, almost 2 steals on 50% shooting in 23 games. After a horrendous finals performance the season before, all eyes were on the King, who easily knocked off the Knicks in 5 games, putting up 28, 6, and 6 in the first round, fought through adversity in the semis, down 2 games to 1 against Indy. LeBron had a monster 40-point, 18 rebound, 9 assist performance in Game 4, averaged 30 a game, 11 rebounds, over 6 assists in the 6-game semis. With his legacy on the line, James had the best game of his career in Game 6 against Boston, down 3 games to 2, responding with 45 big points, 15 big rebounds, followed up with 31 points in Game 7, closing out the series, ending the Garnett-Pierce-Allen era, went on to capture his first championship, averaging more than 28 points, 10 rebounds, 7.5 assists in the 5-game series against OKC. I did my rankings based on what the players did throughout the playoff runs, not just the finals, by counting their overall body of work and how they carried their teams to success. D-Wade was sensational in the 2006 finals. That's why he's top 10. While Kobe in 09 had a lot to prove, winning his first title without Shaq, there was no doubt Bryant was going to dominate in the 09 playoffs and deliver. While 2016 LeBron had the 3-1 finals comeback against a 73-win team, but didn't face much competition in the East. 2018 LeBron had the best overall numbers, but went up against Victor Oladipo, DeMar DeRozan, and Jason Tatum in the East. None of those guys are superstars, and his team was swept in the finals. That's why I can't rank that in the top 5. While Kawhi was clearly the best player in the 2019 playoffs, after Kevin Durant went down, got the best of Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Steph Curry, the best center in the game, the future MVP, and a 2-time MVP. While Shaq was most dominant in the 2000 finals, the 01 Lakers only lost 1 playoff game. That's why I rank 01 Shaq ahead of 2000 Shaq, where I give Kobe Bryant in 01 an honorable mention. who averaged 29.4 points, 7.3 rebounds, 6.1 assists, was putting up 31.6 points before the finals. You can argue Kobe had the better performance throughout the first 3 rounds in the West, but Shaq was just a lot better in the finals, destroying the Dikembe Mutombo. And I rank 03 Duncan number 2 since he beat Shaq and Kobe in the semis, while his defense was just as sensational as anybody. And 2012 LeBron at number 1 since he overcame tremendous adversity, having one of the best games all time in Game 6 against Boston, proof why he's a true champion. Let me know who you guys think had the best playoff run since 2000. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all of you. See you next time.